in the mix from what I was told. Tavita Pritchard I was a little surprised. I'm happy, but
hold on. We got to go back to that ringtone. What was that ringtone?
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Draft Digest. The sickest NFL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
I'm gonna cut. I blinked. Okay. Welcome back to another. We haven't done this in a minute. Okay. Welcome back to another episode of the Sick Podcast Draft Digest. I'm one of your hosts, Emily Van Buskirk. He's the other one, John Vogel. I'm pointing the wrong way on my screen, but we're here. How's it going?
It's going great. It's good to have you back. Sorry we missed you last week, and sorry I messed up the week before that because we're going to record Thursday night.
We're busy gals about town, and that's all right. But the end of the football season, people think like, oh, the end, we're winding down. No, for you particularly, I know this is like ramp up time, and for me, this is ramp up time. So I'm just glad we're able to get together tonight.
Absolutely. It is ramp up time. And I was reminded of that this last week with, you do normal things on Twitter. Hey, what's the team that you give me your NFL team? I'll tell you what schools they've been at the most this year. Use my tracker. Here you go. Give me a prospect that you like, and I'll tell you what I think about him. I'm at 2.9 million impressions this week. Not trying to brag. Not trying to brag at all, but that's so what I'm trying to say. It's ramp up season now. And
I saw that you posed that question to, the public, like, hey, give me, a name and I'll give you my analysis on him. And I thought that was so interesting. And the way people responded to it was so great. And one of my questions to you before we get like too deep into, some college football stuff was, of all of you had a lot of names thrown at you. So who was one that you were really excited somebody asked you about, and who was one that was like caught you off guard out of left field about?
I think I was really excited when people started getting into like the weeds, like a Red Murdoch out of Buffalo. Somebody like that where they were like, where they're like, they're like, hey, I bet you don't know who this guy is. I was like, oh no, I bet you I do. Here's some notes on him, but I think most interesting was probably the amount of people that were interested in Kenyon Sadiq at Oregon, tight end. Which kind of posed me to ask a follow-up question to it, which was, all right, this guy, he's an undersized tight end. He's obviously very athletic, but he's very undersized. Is he going to be a first-round pick? Is he going to be a day 2 pick, a day 3 pick, or is he going to end up being a bust? You know what I mean? Like, he's getting drafted. There's no doubt about that, unless he has some freak injury, knock on wood. But like, he's there's some question to his game because he lacks some size. Is he necessarily going to be quick enough or fast enough to play more of a wide receiver role? To be determined. But I thought it was interesting that a lot of people, like, he was probably the most asked about prospect out of anybody in the draft, which is, or in that, there was almost 1,000 comments by the time everybody was done with it.
Yeah, like, it's crazy.
That's probably about where, I think that was the most surprising thing to me, the most interesting thing.
I saved mine for the pod. I did not tweet it because I wanted to ask you mine on the podcast. So we can do that whenever, but I do have a name, and I'm not sure you're going to have notes on this guy because it is a little bit of a weeds pick. It's a top team. It's a well-recognized team that you've probably watched, but I don't know about if you paid attention to this kid particularly.
Well, I'll tell you a story. So my girlfriend went to school in Utah, and one of her friends from school is married to one of the players on the Utah team. So of course she had to test me and was like, hey, do you have any notes on this guy? I was like, let's find out. Pop it in there. Yes, there were notes on that guy. So
really,
very well may be. So
I don't know. This is a bit of a reach because, and I'll tell you the story behind it when we go into it. But there's a story behind the player, and so that's why. But I'm excited to pull him. But before I try and pull one over on John, is there? We have to talk about the coaches. I know we're going to talk about players because this is a draft podcast, but in the coaches draft, in the college football coaches draft, how did you do? Do you feel good about where some of these people landed? Who do you think won? Are the top draft picks that we're seeing in the college coach world going to pan out at the schools they went to?
Yeah. So you already know what I'm going to say about Florida. This is the coaching hire cycle.
You like the hire. I've seen a lot of people say that they love the hire, and I think it's people that have spoken with him and that have watched him coach. But let me just say that I like Summerall. Obviously, we had him on the show. We love him. But do you think, I mean, given the body of work, do you think it's gonna work out? Or is this kind of a system for him? Okay.
No, I do. Because look at Troy. No, look at Troy. Go back to his performance at Troy. Mm-hmm. Troy had no money. That's not a big program. They're second fiddle in that state to Alabama, Auburn. They're even, UAB puts more at that point in time was putting more money into their program than Troy was. Yeah. He revitalized that program. They were in the Sun Belt Championship. And then you could make the argument that, well, Tulane was already pretty well set up. But he handled the portal really well.
Willie Fritz left it in good shape. So he didn't come in and have to he didn't have to navigate the perpetual G5 pickover, right? People picking through G5 teams. He did have to navigate that. So I'll give him that credit. But Willie Fritz left it in great condition, had a great culture already that he amplified with his, flair. But you don't think that, this is my thing. Summerall is great. He's very motivating. He's like, I like listening to him talk. But there's a difference in coaching guys at the level that he's coached them at and rallying them, right? The way a Spencer Danielson rallies, the way, a Kenny Dillingham rallies. Do you think that's a little bit different at a school like Florida with its pedigree? Now, granted, it hasn't been the same lately, but it has a pedigree. It has a different type of player it attracts. I'm very curious to see how his vision of culture and players is going to mesh with the tradition of Florida and the guys that usually go there and the talent. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. So what I think he's going to do first off is he's going to retain people a lot better. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you can point to that is, if you remember a couple years ago, there was that Troy quarterback that he had, Gunnar Watson, who was the only starting quarterback who was a senior in college that year that had never transferred. Now, he also inherited Gunnar Watson, so he retained him. They went, they played, they competed. They were a very competitive team. You see that kind of consistently through his career. He retains, outside of this past year with Mensa and, the running back Hughes, who went to Oregon and then didn't play. When you have those, you see throughout his career, with those couple exceptions, he's done a great job retaining talent. And that's been Florida's biggest problem, I think, when you look at them over the last 5-6 years. I mean, outside of the pure, there's probably some issues stemming from the boosters. But when you get into the football side of things, he's a much better motivator than they previously just had with Billy Napier.
Yeah.
I mean, much better. He understands football better. He's got a much better intensity about him. And he does hail, I do believe, from the Saban tree. So this is not something that is totally out of his realm. The type of, look at the quarterbacks that he has had. Watson, he went down there, he had dealt it with Mensa. He dealt with, Jake Ratzlaff this year. Mm-hmm. These are guys that have skill sets that have worked in the SEC. They run an offense that works in the SEC. They target big defensive line bodies just like they do in the SEC. So I think he's perfect. And I think that he's in the best position with the background that he has, with the experience that he has, to be the most successful, even more successful than Golish going to Auburn. I don't think that works out. I think he's probably gone.
Really? You're one of the few that I've heard. I mean, the other way, I've heard it flip-flopped, where Golish was and is the hire that's going to turn that ship and right it. And, Summerall is going to be a little in over his head.
Yeah, well, here's the biggest problem that Golish is going to have, and it's that offense. Tennessee deals with this problem every year. Okay. Yeah. The super fast offense, you're not going to get that offensive line in shape the first year you're there. Mm-hmm. That's just an automatic. It takes you a real year to put this system into place. Tennessee did it. Heupel's done it everywhere he's been. The next issue is this guy. It doesn't matter where he's been. Defense has not worked. It has not worked.
Yeah, it's been enough.
His defensive coordinator hire, obviously, he's retaining Durkin, but that Durkin has not been, dealing with a defense that's on the field 100 plays a game, because their offense is running the clock so fast, and especially with all the 3 and outs they're going to have early, that's going to be a problem. And then when you look at the Alabama-Auburn rivalry is so fierce, if you lose back-to-back in that rivalry, you're pretty much done. That's just how it is at Auburn. Auburn is a terrible job for that, I think. But if you cannot beat Alabama, which I don't think you're going to beat them with that offense, not with, the way that. Do
you think he gets at least a grace year in that?
Yeah, he gets a grace year.
In the Alabama,
but if they don't come back out, no, because Durkin's still there. Okay, they're going to point to Durkin and be like, "Well, he was there. He knows how the Iron Bowl goes." Blah blah. No, he doesn't get a grace year on Alabama.
Okay, so he has to beat Alabama in year 1.
No, he's got to beat him in year 2.
Year 2, okay.
And I don't think that happens.
Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Ryan Silverfield. I want to like it. I just know how Arkansas is. And I'm afraid I'm very afraid that's not going to work very well.
Yeah. I don't know if we talked about this, but I had my first interaction with Silverfield. People seem to not understand that he was on the verge of being in the hot seat because of, if you look at, it's hard to explain Memphis to people that don't watch Memphis, but they were okay. And when the American and then the teams left, right? And then now they're okay. Now they're good because the good teams left. Okay. They have not made a championship game in the years that he's been there. And they always get really close and don't quite get there. I think defensively, I love their defensive coordinator, Jordan Higgins, think he's great, but I think they haven't recruited the right kind of guys to put that together. Offensively, it's Tim Cramsey. Okay. I don't think it's going to work out for him. But you know what? That's fine. I thought they were going to hire Cramsey to replace him, but apparently, that's not what's going to happen. And no word yet if Cramsey will be going to Arkansas, but he might be. I know that Silverfield asked him and wants him to go, which why would you part with your guy that's done so well and is a quarterback whisperer and is great at these things? But yeah, I agree with you. That one, the joke's on Arkansas.
I want to. I can't do it. And then obviously the elephant in the room's Lane. Yeah. I know a lot of people are very passionate about this one.
Yeah.
And I actually like the Eli Manning joke. I don't know if you saw that, where Eli Manning responded to the allegation that Lane Kiffin made at the LSU presser that someone tried to run him off the road on the way to the airport to fly out of Ole Miss. And Eli's tweet in response to it was, "Oops."
That is funny.
Classic Manning's getting involved. But
because all the other stuff was ridiculous. And it's getting to the point where, look, I love a good revenge plot. I love a good let's release the hounds and whatever. I can be petty. I get it, but I can't tell what's real anymore. And I don't like that, where it's like I'll see these, these screenshots from girls and whatnot. And I always said, like, I know I have my own Lane Kiffin story, so I know, it is what it is. I've heard stories about him hitting on recruits' mothers, like firsthand. Whatever else goes on. I was told by an Alabama, coordinator, okay, at one point about Lane Kiffin in his office at Alabama after hours with a co-ed, and Nick Saban having to tell said coordinator, go handle that. Okay. So like, I know what's out there, but some of these screenshots are insane. Like they cannot be true. And if so, like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
The screenshots are so easy to fake.
I know they are. So that's what's so scary. But his reputation, and I know things, that it's hard to, some of them I'm like, I don't know. So it's hard. I don't like it. I don't like any of it.
No, that part of it has kind of been annoying.
Yeah.
But if you look at the business side,
Mm-hmm.
this makes all the sense in the world for him to leave.
Yeah.
Where you can see both sides, and where he wants to coach the team through the playoff. And Ole Miss is like, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
The reasonable thing here to conclude, I think, is that college football has to change the calendar in the way that it's set up. That's the problem. That's the culprit here. It's not either side, because this is a great opportunity for them. Ole Miss obviously wants to keep them. And they're trying to dig into the leverage on each side they have in this as they were negotiating this split. But that, at the end of the day, that's what it is if we want to fix this so that we don't have coaches leaving right before the playoff to go coach a new school, especially on a down year like this, where a lot of the blue bloods aren't playing at the level that people expected them to.
Yeah.
And that's what's opened up these opportunities. Then we need to go ahead and move the calendar so that there is no early signing day anymore. We've eliminated the transfer portal window, the late one. So now that's shifted into January after the playoff. Coaches probably need to shift to that point too. And the easiest way to do that is to go ahead and move the early signing day, because that's what's messed all this up.
Yeah.
So I think once we do that, the calendar will kind of reset itself and we won't be having dramatic situations to this extreme. I mean, there'll be one or two that pop up,
of course,
but it won't be like this.
It was crazy because I was at the Stanford, press conference today introducing Tavita Pritchard. And one of the questions he got was about the incoming class and the recruiting. And it was like, dude, this guy was on a plane. He was in DC coaching a game like yesterday or whatever it is. And I kind of said that chuckling in the scrum. And he looked at me and he was like, yeah, I was. But he did say, he was in contact, whatever that means, trying to talk to these recruits and all that stuff. But that's a crazy timeline to deal with. So the last two I was going to ask you about, because when I was trying to suss out the Stanford is always near and dear to my heart, obviously. So even if I'm not covering them, I track their movements, behind the scenes. And everyone had been asking me, like, who do you think is going to be hired? I really wanted Bloomgren. I love Bloom. I think he would have been a really good fit there. He was part of an offense like Tavita that was successful, that knew how to win games. I know that he was interviewed, whether it was formal or informal, because Andrew Luck today said they interviewed 30 candidates officially, and then a bunch more unofficially, which was, he did work with the firm. So I wanted Bloom. And then I thought, okay, Jim Mora, that I like that. I would have loved that. Goes to Colorado State. What?
Yeah.
That was my first what? But
I think with Mora, they were thinking Colorado State's going Pac-12, and almost that there would be more allure, there'd be more opportunity in the Pac-12. And
it's going to be a little
maybe there is, I don't know what that looks. I know that I've seen the TV contracts they put together, so they get on the CW and CBS, and I think there's one other place they're going to be on. But I'm not sure what to think of the Pac-12 yet.
Yeah.
obviously I've been kind of looking ahead into 27 with the transfer portal and everything kind of starting and figuring out what those conferences are going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what to expect. I think it's a group of 6 now, like that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Now, maybe there is more money. Maybe there will be more money for the schools. Maybe that will be the boost that Colorado State needs, that, Texas State needs, that these other schools that join this conference are going to do. And maybe there will be more resources than there was at Connecticut. But that's what I was thinking when I saw that. Is this was a very early stab, taking a bet and basically saying, that the Pac-12 was going to make that school a lot more competitive just with the resources that'll be available from the Pac-12.
I think so. I think you're right in that regard, but I also think not going for a job like Stanford or Cal that's open gives him a little more breathing room and a little, less stress in his life, because, UCLA was rough and there was a lot of things that he didn't, when I covered him UCLA, he didn't like doing as a head coach. And I think he'll be a little more insulated and forgiving at Colorado State. So I get it. But when I first saw it, I was like, geez. And then they hired Tavita Pritchard, which I had been told that was going to be the case. I had also been told, that they had offered some people who had passed or turned it down and whatnot. They're putting a lot on this nostalgia. And I'll tell you, when I was sitting in the press conference, I started to drink the Kool-Aid because they started talking about blue collar. They started talking about intellectual brutality. They started talking about fullback. I mean, they said the word fullback in the press conference, which I had to.
Yeah, that just immediately. Yeah.
I brought it up in my question. Yeah. When I got the mic, I was like, did you say fullback? And so, they're saying all the right things. They're going to be physical. They're going to invest in the offensive line. And then I ask about quarterbacks. We're going to get as many as we can so that there's competition, like when Tavita and Andrew Luck were there. It wasn't just one or two guys. Oops, that's it. So they're saying all the right things. And I think if this works, it's genius. I love it. But it also has the potential to not work badly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And then it's like Luck hired his friend, and this is what Stanford is now. And so there's a lot of pressure on them, but I do think they're like little stepbrothers up there together. Like they're going on this journey together, and it looks really fun. And I really hope it's successful is all I have to say about that. So
my question will be, how involved is Andrew Luck in game planning? And the reason for that is because Luck, to this day, if you talk to John Gruden or pretty much any coach that was ever around him for any period of time, they'll tell you that he's the smartest quarterback they ever talked to.
Yeah.
Like Luck knows the game better than almost anybody in the sport in his age group.
Well, I would say Tavita, let me just interrupt you there, is on par with that, because Luck today told a story when he came to Stanford and Tavita was already the quarterback. Luck walked into a system he was unfamiliar with, coming from where he came from, and had Tavita Pritchard explain to him what hound coverage was. And he said that they sat there for like 20 minutes and Tavita explained to him what their dynamic and the way where they click on the same level as far as like what kind of football and the mind behind it. They're like the same. And obviously there'll be issues they have to resolve and they'll disagree and whatnot. But Tavita already said, somebody asked him, are you going to be the offensive coordinator? Are you just like not going to hire that position? And he said, no, we're going to hire it, but he plans to call the plays. So it is going to be a very hands-on tandem with these two. That's why people are calling them co-coaches. And they didn't say that, but they're sitting up there together at the table at the press conference and finishing each other's sentences, like they're going to build bunk beds and have rumpus. It's an incredible thing to see. And it really does rally you up. If that can reach recruits and if they can get those kind of guys that Harbaugh used to get, do you know what I mean? Those really gritty, tough guys, then yeah, I think this is going to be a success, but time will tell.
To be determined. I hope the best, because obviously Andrew's a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tavita is. I've never met him.
He's
I'm sure he is too.
Good guy. Yeah. We'll have to have him on.
Yeah. It's Stanford royalty at this point,
Well,
that's what this podcast is going to be. It's going to be the Sick Podcast, Stanford's Draft Digest.
Well, the weird part about being in that room today was like, I covered them when they played there. Like, I've covered Tavita in all phases of his life. So when he played there, and then when he coached there, and then now he's back as the head coach. So for me, it was weird. It was a weird moment, but it really, I mean, Jim Plunkett was in the room. Tara Vanderveer standing in the back. Shane Scove was standing back there. You know, just everybody that had been around the program reminding you. I mean, they referenced names, you know, Ryan Hewitt, Owen Marisic. I mean, these names of players and a time that really represented what Stanford was. Christian McCaffrey, Bryce Love. So I think it's either going to work amazing and bring it back, or it's going to fail miserably, but we'll see. I don't know.
Fun times. The ACC, that's a place they can dominate right now. That is not a good conference.
I think so.
It's not a good conference at all right now.
No, and they were talking about taking away the playoff bid from them.
Yeah, as they should. You know, like
give it to Navy. Dude, I'm just kidding.
If Duke freaking wins it all,
I know. I had a buddy
5 team in the playoff. You can't.
I had a buddy that was going to go cover it. He like had booked his flight and he was going to go if SMU had gone, but then when they didn't end up going, when they lose to Cal, he was like, never mind. Because the game just wasn't interesting to him, I guess. I don't know. But
well, the game is not interesting by itself right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not trying to slight on anybody involved in Virginia or Duke. It's just you have a 10-2 Miami team that is primed for the playoff that couldn't win the tiebreaker. And we've got freaking Danny Cannell and all these other, you know, smart media geniuses. Yeah. I throw that word very loosely. Sitting here talking about how the committee is getting it wrong and they're about to screw Miami out of it. You cannot tell me that Miami, who did not play in their conference championship, deserves to get in the playoff over the ACC championship. And you also cannot tell me that Virginia or Duke deserves to be in the playoff over Miami. They're all out. They're all out. It has to be that way. Sorry.
So then do you think then you would put Notre Dame in?
Absolutely.
You love Marcus
Absolutely.
Freeman, to be fair.
Well, it's not just the Marcus Freeman love, okay? It's not. Because the thing here is, yes, Miami beat them by 3 points at home week 1. Since then, Notre Dame has done nothing but gotten better, right?
Right.
Notre Dame's 2 losses are to teams that are in the top 6 right now.
Yeah.
Well, okay, team 15, Miami and then Texas A&M. So, and they played both of them. They lost both of them by, I think, combined 6 points.
Yeah.
So then they've dominated down the stretch the rest of the way. They haven't had any issues. They played a couple ranked teams in there. They've taken care of business. They buttoned it up. They've looked great. They're rolling.
Yes.
Miami's got this Jekyll and Hyde problem. And this is where I went back to when I saw another one of these pundits going into it, laying into the committee. And I just said, you know, at some point you have to hold the team accountable for the performance that they put out. And they put out a couple miserable performances. It's not my fault that they wanted to be Jekyll and Hyde this year. You didn't know which team was going to show up. It's not my fault that they decided to lose to Louisiana or Louisville. It's not, you know, like at home on a Thursday or Friday night.
And to SMU, who just lost to Cal. Both of those teams lost to Cal. Whoa. So both technically Miami lost to Cal.
Yeah, there you go.
By association. By osmosis.
But that's the thing. It's like both of the teams they lost to are unranked.
Yeah.
Okay, you beat Notre Dame week 1 at home. Congratulations. I think you were favored to win that game, you know? But you lost to 2 unranked teams. 2 unranked teams that, I mean, they had a chance to be ranked, but they played Jekyll and Hyde too. You know what I mean? So at some point you have to look at the team and say, look, you guys got to play more consistently to get in the playoff. And then I saw people arguing, well, Alabama's got a worse loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they got a lot more. They got a lot more better wins.
Yeah.
Florida State. Florida State's the worst loss they have. Week 1.
Yeah.
Went down there, got beat by 2 touchdowns.
Which week 1, I just feel like we should throw all week 1s out the window. I mean,
don't
it's
think you
just
throw them out the window, but you take them
base so much
lighter.
on it. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what the committee has obviously done,
Yeah.
because the committee somehow this year, I don't know if it's Mark D'Antoni who's
Mhm.
talking some sense into some of these people on the committee. I don't know who it is.
Mhm.
They're understanding the whole aspect of a team grows over the course of a season. And part of what they're measuring is the growth of the team. And you can make the argument all that you want. Like, people were concerned that Ole Miss was going to drop in the rankings because Lane Kiffin's not coaching there anymore. Oh, well, you have to drop them. You dropped Florida State when they lost their quarterback. Surely the head coach is more important than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you see the growth of the team over the course of the season? That
Yeah.
defense got immeasurably better the last 6 weeks. They were so much better on defense. Alabama got so much better over the course of the season. They got through. As soon as they hit Georgia, they were rolling up until the Iron Bowl, which the Iron Bowl is it's the Iron Bowl. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Miami went like they were going up.
Yeah.
And then they hit rock bottom. And then they started to come back up.
I don't know about rock bottom. I will say also the character gets called into question for certain things, and I agree with you. But it's hard to argue head to head. It's just that's always been a metric for things. Is like head to head. If you beat somebody straight up, no matter when it is, like that's. So I see both sides of it. I agree with you because I don't think that Miami is a good playoff team. I just don't. But I'm also of the believer that I'm not really a Notre Dame playoff team fan either, because I don't think that they're always fun to watch or do or thrive in the playoff situation.
You're just mad they beat the heck out of Stanford last week.
No, okay. I'm not mad at that because that was expected, right? Like,
yeah,
I am a little mad that they left, Lovin for so long and he got hurt. I am mad about that because what are you doing, Marcus Freeman? You're a smart man. Why are you letting the best running back in the country play in a game that you're clearly winning and risk him getting hurt? Like that seemed a little irresponsible to me.
Well, you also have to think Notre Dame's not playing a conference title as an independent, so that's a week. And then by the time they potentially play again, that's 3 weeks from now. So
that doesn't mean that
2 weeks. 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from there.
They didn't need him doing all the things. Irrelevant. I was at the game. It was, it was fun to watch him in person, and he's incredible. Yeah. But I just think, there's some things where I was like,
maybe Heisman vote for Jeremiah Love.
It's just tough with the Heisman this year, because
I was on a pod last night talking about it. It's awful.
Yeah, I'd rather not even get into Heisman conversation. But what I do want to ask you about is we have our conference championships coming up this weekend, which is fun. I prefer the weekend after because got my Army Navy creds in the mail today. Cannot wait.
Hell yeah.
But we'll wait till next week.
They didn't ban you. Look at that. They didn't ban you.
Well, I might ban myself, but the fact that Navy
no, I need you to go.
Navy didn't 100%. Make it in the ranking. If there had been a chance, like if they had made it to the championship game somehow and then had been like ranked in CFP and there was like their odds had gone up to be a CFP contender, I would have banned myself because I wouldn't risk that. But now it doesn't matter. It's just about the Army Navy game. And that is it's like the Iron Bowl. Like it's beyond my jinxing. So I'm really not too worried about that. But we have conference championships this weekend. I will be at the Big 12 BYU Texas Tech game, which I'm very, very excited about. But I wanted to, I know. And I love watching Tech play in person. They're so athletic and explosive and fun. And I love their coach. I think he's super, super funny. But what I was going to ask you is we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Friday night. Are there any players that you think from a draft perspective that when people are watching these games that they should keep their eye on? And so I was maybe going to like kind of go game by game and you could throw some names out there.
Okay, let's do it. Let's try it.
Let's just do like nothing too long-winded, obviously, but
no, the first like one guy.
The first one is Troy at James Madison, which has been James Madison has been so fun to watch this year. Like super happy for them. Who do you have out of that one that people should keep
for James Madison? We're also in All-Star season, so the All-Star games are starting to announce that they have accepted invites.
I did see that.
Today, James Madison had a player that committed to go play at the American Bowl down in Orlando that my friend Scott Phillips is putting together. Scott's going to be on the show at some point here in the next couple of weeks. We're working out. I'm working out the details to get him in on here to talk about it. But that'd be Nick DeGennaro. I'm probably slaughtering that. DeGennaro. Wide receiver number 11, explosive guy, tracks the deep ball really well. He has good speed. He's a good route runner. And the short burst is really what stands out with him. He's a guy to watch.
Okay, that's a good one. What about Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State?
Oh, this is a tough one. Let's go with the junior running back out of Jacksonville State, Cam Cook, transfer from TCU, former 4-star running back. He's had a phenomenal year. He is incredibly fun to watch because he has that 4-star pedigree. I think some services actually had him as a 5-star when he went to Texas Tech. He might have been the number 1 running back in that class. Didn't get a lot of playing time or not Texas Tech, Texas Christian. Ends up going to Jacksonville State this year. I think he's at 1,400 yards. Very good speed combination with his power. He's got a nice little build to him. That would be a guy that would be fun to watch. He's probably going to put up 200 on Kennesaw State.
Okay. I do love some Jacksonville State. This is another one we didn't really talk about, the Eric Morris hire, which was interesting. Mixed reviews on that from people. So really great guy, good motivator, but some people are not sure how that's
to be determined.
Translate. Yeah, TBD. So we've got 24 North Texas at 20 Tulane. That was crazy the way the Americans shook out, but there's got to be a couple guys on each of those rosters, I'm sure, for you.
Yeah, I could go back and dip my hand into previous players that we've talked about. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about Ratzlav. I think he's probably the guy to watch here for Tulane. And then on the other side, last week, I said we're not talking about quarterbacks in this class anymore. Ratzlav's also not in this class, so we get away with that. We're still getting away with that. I took a question about Drew Meistemaker. This is a great quarterback duel. Both of these guys have been played really well this year. Meistemaker set the North Texas school record for 608 passing yards in a single game without starting a single game in high school. Unbelievable story. With Tulane, Maurice Westermoreland is a guy to keep an eye on. He's had a pretty decent year playing off the edge as a pass rusher. So if they can get that pass rush and if Westmoreland can get into the backfield and put that pressure on Meistemaker, that's where he started to make his mistakes this year. And then I'm going to go ahead and point at another freshman at North Texas. That Ashton Hawkins, dude, is unbelievable. That running back number 22, phenomenal football player. Just hard to believe he's a freshman. The way that he just runs through contact, the way he initiates it, the speed and burst that he has, the contact balance is going to really, really surprise you when you watch that game. He's going to run through some people. So look for those matchups right there. Those I think would be my impact players going into that game.
Do you think North Texas beats them?
That's a tough one. It's really going to come down to which coach has been more involved this week, which staff's been more involved, I think.
Interesting.
And I probably lean Tulane that way.
Interesting. I'm picking North Texas. So that's fine.
You just want the chaos in the playoff is what it is.
No.
That's what you're looking for.
I just don't think, I was at the UTSA game when they beat Tulane, so I'm just not 100% sold on, because I've seen them not play well, and that could very much, obviously at home with their crowd, but it's a small stadium, it's intimate. I think it's going to be a game. It's going to be fun for sure.
Yeah.
And then the last one of the day, UNLV at Boise State. Fun fun, I guess. People are upset, New Mexico, but
look, and I love Spencer Danielson.
yes.
I'm a little upset about it too.
Okay.
Because New Mexico and San Diego State both had phenomenal years, and the Mountain West tiebreaker situation has to be fixed. I think that's why they're losing several schools right now. To put that stuff into a computer and say, okay, whatever it pumps out, that's where we're going. Guys, get out of here. Like, come on. What are we, PFF? I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Cage Casey.
Cage Casey, yeah. I figured.
He's been a phenomenal player all year. Jaden Virgin Morgan has also had a couple really big plays in that game last week, helped him come back and beat Utah State. And then on the other side, Jaden Thomas, the running back. How are they going to run? Obviously, we had Coach Danielson on back in July, and he talked about the pride they take in run stopping. If you can stop Jaden Thomas, you guys are going to have a really great game.
It's so crazy that Mullen got him here. I mean, everyone said that he might, and I was like, oh, not in the first year, but good for him.
I didn't think so either.
I know. I mean, but I went to UNLV and watched them play Utah State, which was actually closer than it should have been. But they are a very talented team, and I love Anthony Calandria. I know he's not going to go out probably, but do you think that he stays or he looks to land? You think he stays? Okay.
Yeah. I think they've had enough success this year with the landscape kind of changing there.
Yeah.
Where else is he going to go?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't say that. I don't say that it's like to be mean. That's not the idea.
No, I know, but you don't think some power school might pick him up or might try and pick him up? No. Okay.
No. All right. No, I think that there's going to be other people that are going to come up that are going to kind of outshine him and leave him behind. This is going to be a crazy cycle.
Do you think UNLV beats Boise State at home? I mean, they don't lose on the blue turf very often, but it's a tough one.
I'm kind of leaning with Boise on this one. If they could just get enough out of the backup quarterback, because I don't think Maddox Maxson is playing. They were trying to get him involved last week. Didn't happen. If they get just enough out of him, that defense should be able to hold him in check just long enough.
Just enough. That sums it up for.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a fun game. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, those last two are going to be really fun. All right, well, then let's head into Saturday's slate. Obviously, the first one up here is 11 BYU it's not at Texas Tech. It's in Dallas at the Cowboys Stadium, which will be fun. 11 a.m. kick. There's got to be a bunch of guys in this one, but who do you like? Give me one from each, or one or two.
David Bailey, Texas Tech. Okay. Excellent edge rusher. Has a chance to solidify himself as a first-round player this year. More of a stand-up guy, but he's had, obviously, you're very familiar with him, Stanford transfer.
Yes.
Phenomenal player. On the BYU side, let's go with – that's a good question because there's a lot of them. Let's go with the linebacker, Isaiah Glasker, number 16. Now, he's not as talked about as their Mike linebacker, and that's Ryan, but Isaiah Glasker is the better pro prospect because he's so long. He can do so much more. You got to play him as like that hybrid safety star. You can also put him as the weak side linebacker. You can blitz him. He can drop into coverage. He's a lot of fun to watch. And if he can get going in this game, or not Ryan, I said Jack Kelly is the other linebacker. My bad.
No.
If they get Jack Kelly, situated in the middle and allow Glasker to kind of go free, he's going to wreak some havoc in this game.
Okay, so who do you think Tech holds on and wins, or do you think BYU, quote unquote?
It's very hard to beat a good team twice, especially after you beat them the way that you did the first time. I'm going to go BYU on this one.
Wow. Okay. All right. Then we have Miami, Ohio at Western Michigan. What a crazy MAC ending. I mean, there were so many scenarios. I was really pulling for Central Michigan. I wanted Drinkall to get there in his first year. Unfortunately, some other teams didn't take care of business, but really fun Western Michigan team with Lance Taylor. Love him. And Miami is really fun to watch too. So there's got to be a guy or two from this matchup.
Yeah, I would go. I'd go with Western Michigan. They've got that running back Buckley.
Okay.
He's a guy that's kind of popped all year. There's like 2 or 3 of their offensive linemen, or they always do a great job with offensive linemen.
Yeah.
But they're kind of guys that stand out. On the other side of the ball, there's a little gadget guy. Give me a second, I'll tell you his name.
Miami, Ohio.
Yes. Yeah. He's a little slot gadget guy, Keith Reynolds, number 0.
Okay.
He's a guy to keep an eye on as well. And again, one of these guys that's just kind of popped in every game. Like I said, he's a little slot guy. He's maybe 5'8", 170 pounds soaking wet. But he's got real great short burst. He's got good speed in the open field, and he does a lot in that offense, kind of plays that running receiver role, used in that gadget role as well, can stretch the field deep. And he would be the X factor on the other side if Miami's able to pull this off. Also, really like that new Miami quarterback, the third string guy, the redshirt freshman that started playing the other night, Thomas Gutkowski. That guy.
What a name.
That guy has some tools. He's going to be fun to watch and see how he develops over the next couple of years.
I'm actually excited for that game. I got really invested in the MAC, so I will definitely be keeping an eye on that. And then we have the midday kick, the big game, Georgia, Alabama. There's probably a ton of guys in here, but give me 1 or 2 that people should watch for.
We're going to go with CJ Allen with Georgia.
Okay.
Old school downhill linebacker thumper who's capable in pass coverage. He's got a chance to really play himself up high, maybe into the mid first round at best. On the Alabama side, let's go with there's so many. That's the problem. You sit here and you're like, which one do I pick? Let's go with Jeremy Bernard.
Okay.
He kind of had an off day against Auburn, and Ty Simpson's going to need him against this Georgia defense. There's going to be a matchup potentially out there with Dalen Everett, number 6. Mm-hmm. And if he can get the best of Dalen in this matchup, that's going to cause some major issues for Georgia's defense all game. And that'll be fun to watch.
Do you think Georgia takes this one?
I'm kind of leaning Bama with this one.
I am too. That's funny.
I'm leaning Bama. Mm-hmm.
Same. I am also. Okay, and then last 2, we have Indiana, Ohio State.
Yeah. Mammoth.
This is frustrating for me because Indiana, I know everyone's like, Indiana, I never fully bought in. I still don't understand it. It is what it is. And Ohio State finally beating Michigan. I guess this is it. This is Ryan Day's year. So is there something he can't do? TBD. Do you like their quarterback? I mean, this is a crazy quarterback battle. Who do you like better in this one? I know we're not supposed to talk about quarterbacks, but.
Well, we can make the argument say Mendoza has a chance to stay. So,
okay.
And Sayan's not eligible. So we're still not technically talking about quarterbacks in this class. Yeah, these ones are fine. I think Mendoza probably has the edge in terms of processing. Sayan has the edge in terms of the weapons that he's dealing to.
Yeah.
The thing that's going to be crucial for, I think that's actually going to be more critical, is Indiana stopping the run game. That Ohio State run game, that running back, Bo Jackson. I know, Bo Jackson. What a freaking name for a running back, right? We'd never heard that one before. He is something else. Like, I've watched him in about 3 or 4 games now, and every single game, he just seems to get better. Yeah. He's a true freshman. They got another true freshman that's right behind him, number 32. Can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. But that run game, if Ohio State gets it going and Indiana can't stop it, is going to cause massive issues. So that's the matchup I'm looking at, is the Ohio State running game against those linebackers that Indiana has that are phenomenal. Aiden Fisher, and I can't think of the other guy. 41 and 46 split a lot of time. Okay.
I think Ohio State takes this one. I don't think there's anything I think you're going to win the national championship. I don't know what else to say about that. So, and I don't think Indiana, I can't. I just can't. But if they win, I'll be surprised. And then the last one, the one we were talking about, Duke versus Virginia, the most exciting matchup of the weekend. But there's got to be a couple guys on your list here.
We'll go with on the Duke side. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't want to talk about the quarterback, but that's really the guy at Duke right now. That's who's got all the attention. Darian Mensah left Tulane this year, had a good year. I don't think he's going to be anything early in the draft. He could also come back as well. If he does come, though, I don't think he's anything better than day 3. But he's kind of got some tools with his athletic ability. He's got a pretty good arm to throw the ball down the field. I like to see him be a little more consistent with his progressions and decisions, and he's got to develop a little bit more of a touch ball. But he's got some talent that's there. And then on the Virginia side, let's go with the D2 transfer coming in from Virginia Union, playing running back Jamari Taylor. That guy has been a freaking bowling ball for them this year, quite literally. And I like his upside. I like the way that he kind of presents himself. And then he's also a capable receiver out of the backfield. He's a smaller guy, but he likes to get into pass protection. He'd probably be the guy that I'd be watching in this one.
Okay. Who do you think wins this? I feel like this is a toss-up. Who do you think wins this?
Virginia. I'm going to go.
I think Virginia's supposed to win, but I just feel like I don't ever know what's going on in there. And it's in Charlotte. It's in Charlotte too, which is always so weird. Everybody's moving to Charlotte to do things now. Okay. Well, that's a pretty good comprehensive list for people to keep an eye on this weekend. Are you ready for my player?
Yeah, send them. Let's see what you got.
All right, I will give you the team first. It's Georgia Tech. So definitely outside my comfort zone. But the backstory is I was supposed to be at Clean Old Fashioned Hate last weekend. I got credentialed to go. Flights and weather made it impossible. So I actually didn't make it to Atlanta, but my photographer went. And he is from here as well, Pebble Beach. He knows the family of this player. And so he had a special interest in him. I'm going to do a feature on him. His name is JT Byrne. Byrne.
Byrne. Yes. Tight end, number 88.
Yes.
Okay.
He's had a bit of a journey. He was Oregon State and then Cal, and now he ended up at Georgia Tech. Mostly special teams kind of stuff, but has been getting more involved and is very, very physical guy. So his dad played football. No, you're fine. I just wanted to give the Burns a shout out because they were so excited to have some. He's local. He went to Monterey. He's from Carmel. And his dad, I believe, played. Let me see. I can't remember. They told me his dad played. They said he was like locker mates or something, or next to Barry Sanders. So it must have been the Lions.
Oklahoma State?
No, I think it was in the NFL. If I'm correct about it. But
interesting.
Anyway.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, you stumped me.
I thought I might.
I did pull up. I pulled up some of his career stats. He's got 5 career catches.
Yeah.
36 yards and a touchdown.
It's things that are not like he, it's almost like fullback type stuff where it's like you can't measure everything he's doing in a metric, but he plays. I mean, he's the kind of guy that probably will be. He's not going to be. He's going, but I don't think he's going to be drafted. But he's definitely. I think someone would pick him up, and he'd be really good special teams, and maybe shift into that kind of role. He's 6'5", 265.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought I was
looking at because I had the other 88 on the team, AJ Hoffler, junior who transferred in out of Woodward Academy, and I had him So I had the other. So when I saw 88, I was like, "Ooh, I got a chance." Because no, this defense. Dang it.
It's the other.
You know.
Well, I don't blame you. He was a 3-star guy, out of Carmel High School, and they're down here. There's just we have Palma a little bit, but there's just not as many. So he's a 3-star. He went to Oregon State, played in 9 games, but not as a freshman, a redshirt freshman. Yeah, and then he went to Cal, and did some stuff at Cal. I mean, I remember him at Cal. And then now he's at Georgia Tech, but he has been part of this team that's been so special. So, anyways, I knew I was going to get you at that one.
There you go.
To be fair, that's
that one.
A little obscure. So
that's one of your. Well, you can't even really call him an H-back. He's too big for that too.
He's I know if he were just like 2 or 3 inches shorter, I'd be all in on it. Yeah. But he is tight end. He skews tight end, so it's fine. We'll see. Really great family, and I'm going to do a feature on him, and I hope somebody gives him at least a little bit of a look, especially for special team stuff. So
yeah, look, if you can play special teams right now, and you have that kind of size right now, you can move a little bit. Yeah, that's very valuable. That's one thing I was talking about on the show I did last night. With a Commanders podcast. I almost said Redskins there. Golly, still doing it 10 years later. But no, it's like a lot of people complain about the kickoff rules in the NFL. Mm-hmm. The real thing that, and why you don't hear a lot of NFL people complaining about it is really helping to develop the linebacker and defensive back positions very well. And those obscure tight end positions too, because when you line up like that, you have to get off of blocks in space, or if you're blocking, make those blocks in space and create those lanes, and that translates over to the other side of the ball. So the new kickoff's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. And that's part of the reason, is because it's doing a lot more for development.
I'm here for it. Okay, well, I think that we got to get Jimmy out of here. He might fall asleep on us. Why don't you tell everybody?
Oh, he's got another show to go do.
Oh no, Jimmy. Sorry. Okay, tell everybody about next week, because we're excited about the guests that we're going to have.
Yes, we're going to have Mike Riddleman coming on. He's the director of the College Gridiron Showcase. He's going to join us ahead of I'm getting him ahead this time. Last time I got him after the event. Okay. And I was kind of joking with him. I said, "Yeah, we had to make sure I got you before this time." But he's going to break down a little bit of what that event does, and some of the history about it. And then I think we'll probably get into the weeds a little bit with evaluating too, because Mike's a really good, really fun scout as well.
Yeah, he is.
So it's going to be a good time. The plan is to try to get a lot of those all-star guys involved with the podcast this year.
Yeah. And
let them talk about the games and kind of compare, and contrast the different approaches that they take into building them. It is flash roster building at its finest, where you have to, pull these guys together to get a game and put them on separate teams. And so it's kind of fun from that aspect as well. But at the end of the day, these are opportunities for these guys to go out, showcase their ability, talk to NFL scouts for the first time, really let people start to get a feel for who they are as people and how they prepare themselves as professionals. So can't wait to have Mike on. He's going to be a great guest.
One of my favorite, I started covering that from the beginning, and CGS is great. Mike is great. We've bond over fullbacks. He loves fullbacks, obviously. One of my favorite success stories before we sign off about CGS when I was there was, I don't know if you know a player named Caleb Johnson. He was out of Houston Baptist. He signed with the Bears. He was a CGS guy. No one gave him a shot anywhere. And I met this guy because I was doing some scouting with the Vikings also at the time. Their scout was helping me learn scouting and that kind of stuff. So I actually sat with Caleb for a while and talked to him. One of the most intelligent people I've ever read or ever met. He was incredible. And I was so happy he got a shot out of that, because he's such a good player. But that was a CGS guy. He would not have had a shot had he not gone to that event. So God bless events like that and what these guys do. And
if you remember that year too, Quinn Miners went down there to that event that year and got an invite to the Senior Bowl before he blew up and was a social media star.
It's
That
funny
was a
because
fun year.
a couple guys that happened to, they were supposed to be at CGS and then they ended up going to Senior Bowl. So because they had the chance, and I was trying really hard to get, I don't know if you'll remember this name, Tori, the fullback from LSU. Why am I blanking on his name?
Oh shoot,
Tori Smith, maybe no, LSU fullback.
It wasn't Smith.
Tori Carter. Sorry. Tori Carter. I don't know why I would ever
Yeah.
forget that because it's my pinned tweet on Twitter. This is the story I did with him. But I was texting his mom trying to get him to, I was like, come down to CGS, like do some show. I mean, he ended up, getting with the team anyways. But I remember that moment. And I thought to myself, that must be so stressful for these guys when guys drop out or they go move somewhere else and they have to fill these spots and stuff. It is crazy. So I'm excited to hear, Mike's perspective on all that.
Yeah, and the CGS, very, very different event compared to a lot of these all-star games and the approach that they take and the way they set it up. It's a complete OTA style event. It's fun, and Mike's going to get into a lot of that stuff.
I'm excited. We'll definitely come back next week for that one. Is that good? Are you done?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, sweet. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for the episode this week. I'm your host, Emily Van Buskirk. He's John Vogel. We'll see you next week.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Draft Digest on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.